Alrighty, we're live. Here we go. It's paint along. Let's do this. Alrighty. Hey everyone, it's Marcus from the Barkman Library. If this is your first time, thanks for joining us. If it isn't, thanks for showing up again. Good to always have you. So we're gonna be painting another landscape, but a little different this time. It's going to be portraits. Usually we do them horizontally, landscape, but I think what we're going to be doing fits a little better this way. And we're going to be doing kind of like a big grassy field, and then maybe like a nice pink sunset, and then maybe like a tree here with a bunch of like pink and white blossoms. So without further ado, let's first off go over the materials, and then we'll get started. So, of course, you want your canvas. It needs to be nice and sturdy. You don't want to do this with paper, or else it's going to curl up and not be good. You want really sturdy canvas that can hold your paint. These are pretty cheap too. You can find them at most department stores, art stores. You want a palette. This has obviously seen a lot of use, but just something to keep your paints on. You need to use a paper plate if you want. You'll want paints. We're going to be using acrylics today. These are a lot cheaper than oil paints. They're not quite as good as at blending, but they're good for like layering on top of each other because they don't mix together and they dry really fast. They dry really fast. Like this takes like 10 minutes to dry. Oil paints take like 2 weeks. So you kind of have to work fast if you want to do like blending and stuff. The way to get around that though is to keep your paints wet with like a little spritzer bottle. You can use this on the canvas or on your palettes on the paints themselves. But since acrylics are water-based, that's a good way to keep them from drying out too fast. You want a rag. Obviously, this is seen a lot of use too, because art gets messy. Speaking of, you'll want to wear old clothing. Trust me. This is like work-appropriate clothing, but I always wear the same shirt. You can see I've got paint all over it whenever I do these programs. You'll need a thing of water. You use a cup or whatever, but I got this plastic tub thing. And of course, paintbrushes. We've got 2-inch and a 1-inch brush. Usually I just call this like big brush, medium brush. We've got a palette knife. This one's made of metal, but they come in plastic and such in different shapes. You use whatever shape's best for you. I like this one because it has like 2 little sides, or big side and a little side. And a bunch of different brushes, or shaped brushes. You got a fan brush. It's good for like clouds and trees and stuff. Square brush, filbert brush, which has kind of a rounded edge, and then a few little round brushes. It's also good to have a liner brush, which is like really thin, good for making little lines, but mine broke, so we don't need it today anyways, so I'll have to replace that when I can, but good to have around, just not right now. And then you'll probably want a good easel. I'm just using the wall at the library here, which I have the canvas stuck to with a bunch of Velcro, because that seems to work the best for some reason. But you'll be pushing on the canvas a lot, so you want a good sturdy easel that isn't going to tip over when you push on it or do anything with it. So that should be about it. Let's go ahead and get started. Actually, 1 second. Where did I put... where did it go? I had like a little reference picture that I was going to use, but I don't know what happened to it. I just have to wing it. Dang it. Oh well. Wait, hold on. Ah, there you were. It was under the laptop over here. Good thing to use when you're painting is a reference. This is not cheating. It's really hard to just come up with something out of your head. You can use a photo. You can get inspiration from another painting. You don't have to even copy it directly. It's just something to kind of get a good idea of what you're going for. I mean, if you want to just, wing it and make up stuff off the top of your head, that's fun too, but sometimes it's nice to have a little photo. It's not cheap, believe me. Every artist uses references. Um, Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and start with the sky, which is going to be a nice blue color. And what we're going to do with that is it's going to be darker at the top and then lighter at the bottom because the sun's shining up. It's kind of how the sky works. So what we're going to do is kind of put some white along the horizon and then kind of put some darker blue and then kind of blend it downwards, which is hard to do with acrylics, harder than it is with oils. I'm holding my palette wrong. What the heck's wrong with me? That's actually good thing to go over. If you have a palette that's shaped like this, you don't want to hold it like this or like this. You want to treat this little part like it's a handle. Just hold on to it right there, and then just let it rest on your arm. Don't grip on it, just let it rest. Otherwise, your thumb is going to get really tired and go numb from holding it. It happens to me all the time. So, yeah, take care of your hands when you're doing art. I was dealing with carpal tunnel for a few weeks a while ago. It's not fun. Always take care of yourself, take breaks, get up, walk around, get some water, take care of yourself. Anyways, let's stop talking and get to painting already. So let me go ahead and get some white kind of on the horizon there. And you're probably thinking, why the heck are we putting white on a white canvas? Because we are going to blend it. In fact, because this is water-based, you might want to spritz it a bit to keep it wet. Right up there. That's good. And then let's go ahead and get some of this kind of light sky blue color. That is, in fact, sky blue. But it can just be any light blue. What I'm actually going to do is, because this blue is kind of cool, I'm going to warm it up a bit. I'm going to add a little bit of this aqua color, just to kind of get it like a hotter blue. And blue can be a hot color. I've always thought like blue, purple, green, those are always cool colors, but you can definitely have a warmer blue. It's just, it's kind of hard to explain, honestly. It's just like the saturation, the feeling that it kind of gives you when you look at it. Let me spritz that a bit. Basically what we're doing is we're going to kind of get like these X strokes starting from the top and then working our way down. And what that does, see, as the paint on your brush starts to run out, it kind of starts to blend into the white. And this is a lot easier if the paint is wet. Otherwise it's just going to smear and not blend right. It's a lot easier to do with oil paints, but you can do it with acrylics. See? And then just kind of come back and forth really lightly as you work your way down. Because you can always blend it more as you go. You can't unblend it. So if you do too much, you're not gonna have a good time. And then let's go with kind of a dark indigo color. So we're gonna go with this dark blue. That might be too much, but we'll work with it. And add a little bit of red to it because we want to make it purple. Kind of that color. That's pretty good. And same as before, I'm going to switch this up again. Just keep it wet. But I'm mostly going to focus on the top up here. I'm going to do this pretty lightly because I don't want to put down too much. I want to do that all the way down there. That's looking good, actually. Just pretty much this top part. That came out pretty good. All right, I'm gonna wash this brush now. Washing acrylics isn't as fun as oils because you don't really get to do the beat the devil out of it step. And plus, it's kind of harder to get water off of bristles than it is oil or paint thinner. Basically, just wash it off in water and then just dab it off on a towel. Just kind of wring it out as much as you can. It's okay if it's still a little wet. That's actually still really wet. But let me get some paper towels. Yeah, see how much paint, water we still have on there with all that paint. Really get it off. That's better. It's okay if it's not 100% dry, but. Alrighty, so next what we're going to do is we're going to do some big paint clouds. And for that, we're going to use this, use that brush. So go and get my palette. And let's kind of go for like a deep pink color, almost like magenta. So we pretty much almost just use this color that we've already got. Let's see what we come up with. I definitely want a little redder than that. This be kind of a warm color. Let's see, that's looking good. Okay. Basically, I'm just going to take that and kind of just maybe smush that around up here. This is not going to look like clouds right away, but kind of just giving the shape on there. It's good to leave a lot of like open sky, unless you're trying to do like overcast, but not really what I'm going for here. Maybe there's like some clouds kind of on the horizon that kind of looking over. So as you do these, to make it look a little more like clouds, you can do like these kind of circular motions. In fact, that's kind of what we should be doing this whole time instead of smushing it. Smushing is more for trees. Yeah, that's a lot better. You want to kind of stir it up as you go. maybe there's some more clouds like over here, like on the horizon. Okay. Go and spritz these, keep these wet. Next, I'll do kind of a brighter pink. Rinse off my brush here. Sometimes it's good to have a garbage can next to you. Just if you need to like flick your brush to dry it off. Okay, let's go kind of a brighter pink here. And let's kind of work our way over this way. It's kind of good to kind of like bleed into the other color a little bit to kind of get that shape, the kind of like puffy shape. Get some more paint here. And what we're kind of going to do is over here, kind of just imagine where light would hit. Kind of just and kind of stir it up a bit more. Kind of get rid of all those like brush strokes. Let's see. Definitely want to cover a lot more of the sky with the pink. And kind of work our way across and almost get to like a yellow color. So let's see. Yeah, like all the way across. See how bright this color looks, even though it's going on a darker color. And that's one thing that acrylics are good at doing that oil paints really can't do. So oil paints would just mix with that color. Let's do it down here. This color up here. That's looking good. Okay, let's try to get into like a really bright yellow, almost beige color. So let me grab this yellow. Add a little bit of white to it. That's about the color we're looking for. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of add this in, but kind of treat this like it's an edge. kind of try to preserve like these edges here. And then kind of blend to the side. Let's keep a little bit of that color here. I'm going to stir a lot of this up on this side. It's coming out pretty good. I'll get a little bit more shape going around here. That's looking pretty decent. Let's get a little more around here. I'm going to take, let's see, maybe add a little bit of that color like over here, just a little bit. Yeah. I'm going to take a dry brush and I'm going to kind of do a little more blending in these spots. Just a little bit. That's pretty good. Probably don't even have to do that blending step, but whatever. Okay. So next what we're going to do, let's go ahead and use this brush really quick. Okay, this part might be shocking, so hold on to your horses. There's not going to be any mountains in this painting. I know, right? Who am I? There's going to be some hills, though. Some grassy hills. So what we're going to do is mix up some blue and green. And we're going to kind of do this really dark color for the hills. A little darker than that. We need to get some of this dark gray in there, just a touch. Okay, so now I'm going to basically just smush top of these hills right here. And basically just paint all the way to the bottom. So just have at it. I'm going to need a lot of paint for this, so let me mix some more. Once you've got all that, it's good to go across kind of lightly, just to get rid of all the brush strokes. All right. So next, we are going to get some highlights on these hills, make it look really grassy. For that, I have to wash my brush again. Some water. Probably don't have to spritz that color because we're going to be not really blending on it. We're just going to be kind of building on top of it. Let me get some more paper towels. Okay. All right, so for this part, we're gonna make some highlights. So we could pretty much just use this color, I think. So put that in there. Basically what we're gonna do is kind of try to keep your bristles flat, and we're gonna kind of do this. We are going to kind of start from not all the way at the back, but kind of from the top. And kind of just pat. Kind of just pat like that. And kind of work our way forward as we do that. While we're at it, let's kind of add like some indication of some flowers back there. So with that, I'm going to add like some pink and red. Actually, I'm going to use another brush. It's good to, sometimes it's good to have two brushes for stuff like this. So I'm going to kind of add like some pink down there. Let's get a little more. Nice. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, that's basically going to be one hill, and then we're going to kind of come across like this for another one. Just give it some depth and layers and such. So let me get some of that paint. If you go like this, it kind of keeps your bristles like flat. This is easier with a new brush, by the way. This says probably needs to be retired, this brush here, because its bristles are all frayed out. But let's go ahead and, like we did before, just kind of come this way. And just kind of pat. It's good if you leave like some dark areas like that. Just give the implication of like some shadows like at the bottom of all these blades of grass. decent. And then as we get towards the bottom, try to get a little more sparing with the color. It should be brightest at the top. Start to get a little lighter at the bottom. Like that. Let's see. Let's get some more of the pinkish, reddish color. Let's add a bit of those like flowers to this hill. Kind of just in a few areas like that. So a lot of painting like this is indicating that you don't have to go out there and paint every little flower. Sometimes just little spots from your bristles kind of trick the eye into saying like, oh yeah, there's a few like pink flowers out there. I can see from the little color. It's kind of what Bob Ross meant when he said happy accidents. Sometimes you just throw stuff up there and things happen. It's looking good. Okay, so now that we've gotten a lot closer, now we can kind of put in some actual flowers. For that, I'm going to use this small round brush. So we get kind of this pinkish color again, mixed with a touch of red. All right, so I'm going to mix that up. And now what I'm going to do is kind of just put some indications of some flowers in here. What we're going to do is kind of have them start as like dots. Kind of make them a little more detailed as we come forward. Like here you can actually paint like the individual petals and such. You don't have to get super detailed with it, just enough to indicate that there's some flowers here. Kind of making it look like they're kind of just hiding in the dark of the grass here. Try not to make them, see what I'm doing here is I'm actually making kind of a mistake. I'm making them too evenly spaced out. You want to be a little more random than that. few that are closer together. Because otherwise it's going to look like someone planted them that way. It's not going to look natural. I want this to be like a natural flower field. Not a ton of rhyme or reason to this. Just kind of trust where I think these flowers should live. As Bob Ross would say, that's where it lives. Every flower, tree needs a friend, all that stuff. It's okay if some of these are kind of cut off by like the bottom of the canvas here. It actually gives it a little more realistic depth. I think what I might do is put some whites on here and get some like lighter flowers in here too. So I'm going to mix some of this pink with this white. Kind of get, yeah, maybe even go over some of these flowers with the white. Just a little more contrast and depth. I don't have to go over all of them, but just to kind of mix it up a bit. This almost reminds me of painting stars in a weird way. How there's like clusters and like some little stragglers. And that's looking good. Maybe a few more down here. Sometimes it's good to like step back, like way back, so you can get kind of an idea of what it looks like. Yeah. Maybe a few more like up here. Looks good. All right, so next what we're going to do is, it's going to be easier than it sounds. We're going to paint a big old tree here with a lot of like blossoms, cherry blossoms. Alright, so let's go ahead and I'm just going to use some straight up black for this. So you actually should always shake up your paints. You can need a whole lot. Okay, so let's good to kind of wet your brush if you're going to be doing like kind of like more precise lines like this. This tree is going to live right there. Right over this hill. Just like that. He's going to branch out a bunch. He's going to branch out like over here. So for painting like branches and stuff, sometimes it's good to just kind of just let your hand shake a little bit, because otherwise they're going to look too straight, I guess, too uniform. You want it to be all kind of jagged. Maybe this one branched off of this one. We don't get too into this because we're going to cover out one of these branches with leaves, of course. Maybe it goes way up here. Okay, I think that's good. Tree trunk and branches, and then let's go ahead and get rid of that brush. Oh geez, I got paint dripping off my palette there. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and get this brush and basically just dip it into the same paint that we were using before. I'll make sure we have a lot of paint on the bristles though. Let's make sure we've got plenty of paint. That's looking good. Okay, so I kind of want the bristles to spray out a little bit. Spray. They're going to poke out from each other. So kind of just smash it against the palette to kind of get them in that shape. And then, once you've got plenty of paint on there, we're just going to smush all over. Just keep smushing until you got it straight up there. Don't make it just like a uniform oval or anything. You want it kind of be random and stick out in areas. Don't be afraid to really come down and cover up some of these branches. It's not like these leaves are transparent or anything. I mean, kind of, but not really. Some leaves like hanging off the bottom here. That looks good. Okay, next, let's take a little bit of this white color. Really gonna wear this really bright pink, almost white. Get that on the end of your brushes, and now we're gonna kind of imagine where light is dropping and kind of just drop some highlights on those leaves. So you kind of want your bristles to really spread out, otherwise you're going to get that kind of just smudge shape. Don't want that. I want it to be like little leaves. It's pretty good, if I do say so myself. And sometimes you gotta say that. Don't forget to compliment yourself, because artist is usually his biggest critic. That's why I think you should always keep your paintings, even if you hate them, because in the future you're gonna look back and be like, "Wow, that's how I used to paint." I've come a long way. Let's see here. What I'm going to do is, the leaves look a little too bright in some spots, so I'm going to make like a kind of purplish color. Kind of in these like lower areas, kind of dab that in a bit. Maybe even darker than that. Okay. Okay. Looking pretty good. I think what I'm going to do now is, this can either be really cool or ruin like the entire painting. But I'm going to do like a bunch of like petals flying in the wind. And you know what? Sometimes you just gotta go for it. It's a bravery test. That's what I would say. So make sure that this brush is nice and clean and dry. And mix this up, and then I'm just gonna drop in a bunch of petals. Like, you know what? I'm gonna kind of get like two colors going here. One kind of a darker, closer to red, and one kind of a lighter. Just so it shows up a bit more. Yeah. That's actually looking pretty good. See, sometimes it pays off to experiment. This could almost be like a scene in Japan or something. Like, they actually call their cherry blossoms sakura. It's like a big part of their culture. I'm gonna go in here and maybe put some like lighter petals. Maybe like the sun is catching some of them a little better. That's looking pretty cool, actually. I don't want to overdo it, but I could say that's enough. As I immediately go put more. Okay, I think that's pretty good for finished painting. Go ahead and sign that. You should always sign your work. Go ahead and get just whatever color you feel like. You can do like this purple. Maybe do up here. All right. It's not too bad. I'll call it a finished painting. Well, thanks for joining us. If you painted along, hope yours came out just as cool. Show us if you ever follow along with these. I really like to see them. And yeah, if you ever have any suggestions for stuff that I should try to do, I really want to try something other than landscapes once. Maybe like portraits or something like sci-fi or fantasy or even something abstract and weird. Yeah, whatever you guys want to see, I'm open to change of pace, maybe. But whatever we do in the future, I'll hope to see you there. And thanks for joining us. Stay safe, stay sane, and have yourself a good one. Take care.